We are live on YouTube.
Okay. All right, everybody, ready to go?
Yes, sir.
So, right. So, live from the left lane of I-95, I'd like to call to order the June 15th, 2022 meeting of the City of Charleston Traffic and Transportation Committee. Thanks, everybody, for chiming in, and ask Councilmember Gregg if he's out there to lead us in an invocation or a moment of silence, please. Do we have him?
I don't think he's here, Mike.
He's here. It
Well,
just looks like he's on mute.
All right, well, let's pause for a second to make sure we've got him, because I think we need him for a quorum anyway, and for an invocation.
Can you guys hear me now?
All right, there he is.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, I don't know what's going on here.
Well, so it's great. We already had a
Right,
moment of
you got me?
silence. So we had a moment of silence. Now you can just lead us in an
great.
invocation.
That's what I was going to call
Okay.
for.
So that's
All
it.
right. Sorry about
Go
that.
ahead. You're on.
No, let's keep rolling.
All right. First order of business is approval of minutes from May 10th, 2022. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Councilor. All right. Any additions, subtractions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Next, signal maintenance contract modification. Is Valerie out there, or who's going to handle this?
I am on here, council member. Good afternoon, y'all. I'm asking y'all to recommend for approval to the Ways and Means Committee this modification to the agreement between the South Carolina Department of Transportation and the City of Charleston. Last year, y'all entered into an agreement with them. I believe it's dated June 17th, 2021. And this agreement was for the maintenance, construction inspection, operation, and engineering of stop and go traffic signals, flashing beacons, and the signal communications network associated within an area of the City of Charleston within Charleston County. This modification is because we are expanding, or they've asked us to expand the number of signals that we will be responsible for. I believe that number is increasing from 250 to 257 locations. Because of this increase, they are increasing our funding. That increase from the original contract for the annual funding originally was $475,650. The increase is to $478,150. That's an increase of $2,500. There are nominal increases throughout because of the nominal increase in the traffic locations that we're going to be responsible for. The other financial changes is into the increase of base funding, which is increasing from $414,150 to $416,350. That's an increase of $2,200. The SEDOT will also be increasing the compensation for traffic engineering activities. That figure is increasing from $20,500 to $20,600, an increase of just $100. And they will also be increasing the amount that they will be reimbursing for equipment upgrades. That's increasing from $41,000 to $41,200 in the new modification. I'm happy to answer any other questions regarding this.
All right. Before we get into questions, can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second, please. Councilmember Parker.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I can't see anything. I can hear y'all, but I'm sorry. Yes, second.
Second. Great. Thanks. All right. Anybody have any questions for Ms. Shear about this modification?
So move for approval. Oh, Mike's muted now.
Second, I know, sorry, y'all, I'm losing connection here. Second.
All right. I'm back. let's see, Troy or Robbie, is this all in accordance with your understanding? Are we all good to go with this?
That's correct. This is basically our annually signal maintenance agreement contract with DOT. So any changes in monies coming to us, we have to, come before this committee for approval on the Ways and Means.
Okay. Any questions, Councilmember Boyd or Councilmember Gregg, sorry, Councilmember Parker?
No, no questions.
No questions.
Okay, we had a motion and properly seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? The ayes have it. Next, Mount Pleasant Street Speed Hump, Wagner Terrace neighborhood. Who's going to handle this one?
Good afternoon, Thomas Tisdale with Traffic and Transportation. This request came in last year around April. The people who wanted the request for the community filled out a petition. They met the requirements for the petition. We did a traffic study and meet all of our traffic calming standards, and fire and police have approved it. And we're asking that the 2 speed humps on Mount Pleasant Street to be approved.
Anybody have any questions before we take a motion on this? I've got a quick question. What was the traffic counts up there? If you don't mind me asking.
Roughly 2018 vehicles per day.
Wow. What was the speed?
So the average speed was 27 miles recorded, but the 85th percentile had an excess of 35.71 miles per hour. And almost 50% of the cars that were recorded were going over 25 miles per hour.
That's the main thoroughfare in and out of Longborough, right? Or is it?
That
is
is
it
correct.
Longborough? Is it Longborough or is it the next community to the north?
Well, it's a part of the Wagner Terrace neighborhood in which you can go back to. I think that is Longborough in the back section of the neighborhood. But Mount Pleasant is a state maintained road, which Mr. Tisdale worked with the DOT and was able to get their approval based on the approval of this committee and the speed limit reduced to 25 miles an hour.
All of which we're going to do.
Yes, sir.
Upon your
Do
approval,
we have money to do these speed humps?
these will be the first speed humps of the year being installed. Mr. Tisdale worked with our emergency response teams, police and fire, to get their feedback and approval. So these will be the first installed in 2022. So yes, many money is available.
What's your budget this year for speed humps?
I think it's 149,000.
Okay.
And Mr.
All right,
Tisdale, I was just going to add, Mr. Tisdale started with the maintenance of some of the older speed humps, getting those taken care of, and we'll continue to move forward, working with the police and fire, seeking approval for other locations.
Okay.
What are these expected to cost?
I'm sorry?
What are these? I mean, these 2 speed humps, what are they projected to cost? I'm just curious.
I believe the DOT humps are 14 footers, and I want to say they're $4,100 each. And
Okay.
the city will provide the signage and the markings as our in-kind contribution.
Okay.
And so 4,100, how does that come out of, sorry, you said you had a $145,000 budget, and what do we have left?
Yes, we have $149,000 in our traffic calming account.
Okay.
So, based off the $8,200 for these 2 speed humps, then it'll be, what's that?
Oh, okay. So we haven't used any monies.
No, I believe we started with the maintenance, but basically we have money available.
Okay. Okay.
which by the way is momentous because usually we are backed up a year or two because of the budget. So this is a good thing.
Yes.
Have we notified the actual homes that are going to have these speed humps in front of them as the exact location?
That is correct. I've already met with the community and the people around where we're proposing to put the speed humps, just to make sure that they feel comfortable with it. So
Okay.
yes, we've already had that meeting.
Great. Okay, I'm not sure we've had a motion yet. So Councilmember Craig, or
Motion.
Councilmember,
Motion to approve?
Second.
can I get a second? Great, got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Great. Next is Wayfarer Lane, request public hearing for speed reduction.
Yes, Wayfarer Lane is located in the Bayview Farms neighborhood. I want to say the first request we received from Wayfarers was when former Councilwoman Jackson was representing that district. And we were working with a gentleman over there in accordance to our policy requiring these petitions signed by 75% of the residents, to conduct our speed study. So Mr. Tisdale and staff has worked with the community, and I believe I provided you guys with, once they met the 75% petition requirement, we conducted 3 place counters at 3 locations along Wayfarer, and the requirement is for 350 vehicles per day to be on that street, to utilize that street in a 24-hour period. And we've just found that Wayfarer did not meet the volume requirement. Since we couldn't meet that requirement, Mr. Tisdale and staff, Mr. Mathis and James Wallace actually met out there with the community, and they, reviewed some of the requests from the community. Staff can give you a little bit more idea of what has been done out there. But one of the requests was to reduce the speed limit on Wayfarer, which is a city street. So the speed limit is 25 miles an hour unless otherwise posted. So per ordinance, to reduce the speed limit, it requires a public hearing. It requires a request to TNT to have a public hearing before we can seek approval for a speed reduction to 20 miles an hour. So I'll ask Mr. Mathis if he can give an overview of what has been done out there within the Bayview Farms neighborhood.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mathis.
I am so sorry, Mr. Somerville. My phone, I am having connection issues, so it dropped out. What was the end part? After you met with the community and then y'all were talking about reducing the speed?
Yes, ma'am. Per ordinance, it requires a public hearing to reduce the speed limit.
Okay.
So that's why we're requesting the committee to approve the public hearing. And hopefully in July, when we come back, we'll seek approval to reduce the speed limit on Wayfarer to 20 miles an hour.
Okay. And and I apologize, I'll let Mr. Mathis go ahead. I apologize.
Thank you, council member. Thank you, Robbie. As Robbie mentioned, we've met with the neighborhood recently and determined that reduction of the speed limit is our best option moving forward. Some of the other things that we've done up to this point is actually installed speed limit signs. In this case, they were 25-mile-per-hour speed limit signs, which is a little bit different than at the entrance of the neighborhood, which has speed humps and traffic calming devices, and it's signed as 20 miles per hour. So we have entrance of the neighborhood at 20 miles per hour. Wayfarer Lane is 25 miles per hour. So it's a little bit of inconsistency there, which is one reason why we feel this is a good option for this street. We've also installed some watch children signs on the street, as well as changed out several different other signs in the neighborhood. We've recently installed retroreflective strips on the stop signs, the speed limit signs, as well as the watch children signs, and installed stop bars or stop lines at the intersections where there's a stop sign. And we've installed crosswalk at Spanish Moss Court. So those are a few of the things that we've done on the street recently.
And I'd like to add, as Michael indicated, Bayview Farms was treated with speed humps back in 2008. So there's, I believe, 3 speed humps on Bayview as you enter the neighborhood, in which when we install speed humps, the recommended speed limit is 20 miles an hour. So Bayview is actually posted at 20, but the rest of the neighborhood per ordinance is 25 miles an hour.
I would also mention that
Okay.
the police department has conducted some stealth studies out there, and if I'm not mistaken, conducted some enforcement as well.
Anybody have any questions for either Mr. Somerville or Mr. Mathis about this before I make a comment?
I do.
Sure, go
So,
ahead.
great. So all of that, the stop bars, stop lines, the watch children signs, all of that was done recently, like within the past couple of months?
The retroreflective strips, the speed limit on the speed limit signs and the watch children signs, as well as the stop bars and the crosswalk were done, I believe it was June the 7th.
Oh, okay. Okay. And so, and I apologize, I couldn't make that meeting, Mr. Tisdale, but is this where the community, I mean, they're okay with this at this point, not the speed humps? I mean, I remember all the emails, and I understand that it's a lot more difficult to get a speed bump than one thinks, but this is where the community is happiest. That's why we're, requesting the public hearing.
Yes.
Councilmember,
Yeah, go ahead. I think that was on my.
okay, Councilmember Gregg, do you have any questions?
Nope.
So I'd like to get a motion and vote on this, and then I would like to make an observation and maybe see if we can direct our staff to help us a little bit here. So can I get a motion on this, please?
Motion to approve.
Councilmember Parker, second.
Second.
All right, any further discussion?
Yeah, one more question. So after the public hearing, I mean, I understand the traffic studies have been done. It sounds like we have a lot in the budget as far as speed limits go. I understand that we have a process and number of cars, speed, all, studies where we go down the list, but what is preventing us from adding a speed hump somewhere where some, folks really want one? And this goes for other areas, especially in my district as well, just with children. I mean, I hear it, we hear it all the time. I'm sure y'all have heard it longer than I have, but what is preventing, I mean, these are, what did you say? It needs to be 150 cars per day?
It's 350 vehicles per day.
350, sorry.
That's correct. And that is the issue, is that we have so many requests that are pending. We have to make sure that the street meets the requirements of 350 vehicles a day for us to use our funding to have the speed humps installed. This committee has approved speed humps to be installed on streets where the requirements have not been met at the cost of the residents. So for us to use our funding, our traffic calming budget, we have to meet the requirements of the 350 vehicles a day.
Okay. And Councilmember Seekings, like you said, I mean, to have this much kind of so there's a lot in the pipeline, but we still have the funds. But like you said, there's sort of a waiting list or a list of some sort for these speed bumps.
Right now, we're working with the fire department, and Mr. Tisdale can probably give a better update on what is being done. But basically, I think we have 579 actual speed humps within the city of Charleston. And the fire department, basically, they're going through, we're getting GPS locations on each speed hump location so it doesn't impact their response times. So they want to make sure they can look at where the humps are, they know what station to send to what call. And prior to really approving any more speed humps, they want to make sure we get all these speed humps marked in their system, really before moving forward. But we do have a list, we do have a log of outstanding or requests for pending traffic calming devices to be installed within the city.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Approximately how many? Do you know? Or,
I would say at least 10.
okay. Okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay. Any more questions?
No.
I think we've had a motion in a second. Can I call for a vote on this? And I'm going to make a comment. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. All right. So might I suggest this? In listening to this conversation and in listening to the configuration of the roads that we're talking about here, it seems to me the fact that we have a city ordinance that requires a public hearing to reduce a speed from 25 to 20 is too bureaucratic. I mean, we've got a director of our department who should have that discretion. I think we ought to go and take a look at this ordinance, and so long as there's certain parameters put on it, give the decision on whether or not to lower the speed limit to the discretion of our director based on input from, among other places, the community. The fact we have to go have a public hearing to reduce the speed limit from 25 to 20 on roads we're right around the corner, they're already 20, seems to me to be a little excessive. So I think we ought to look at this ordinance.
I agree. Thank you for saying that, Councilmember Seekings. Obviously, being so new to this and sort of this being my first speed hump, situation. Obviously, there is a lot of red tape. I can understand if an entire community doesn't want it, or if studies are done. But if the department is okay with it, if the community is okay with it, and the funds are there, I completely agree with you.
So anyway, I don't know if anybody from legal is still on, but if we can put that as a to-do list, it can't be that complicated an ordinance. Can we just take a look at it and maybe discuss it at our next meeting?
I've made a note of that, council member.
Perfect. Sorry, you got the short straw today, I guess, on this one.
All good.
All right. I think that has brought us to the end of our agenda. Is there any other matter that needs to be brought before the Committee on Traffic and Transportation? Councilmember Gregg or Councilmember Parker, anything from you?
No, sir.
Nothing.
Mr. Somerville, is there anything from your seat that we need to know about?
No, sir.
Okay, well, if that's the case, I will declare this meeting to be adjourned. Thank you all very much for
Thank